This is your daily market review for Monday, February 12th, 2024. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Monday, February 12th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Had some time to relax. Got fat and happy. Had a few cocktails maybe. Just in general, took your mind off the market for a couple minutes. Let's get back to it because it is options expiration. And the market has been, I would consider, confusing. Some things on a rampage, some things stuck in the mud. Index is being lifted by a few names. Overall market in itself is, I would say, I'd like to say ultimately that the middle of February, if you go look at the seasonality, not necessarily even the Stock Traders Almanac, but the middle of February into the late stages of earnings in an up market usually generates a pullback. That's the warning. Going into OPEX, we'll see. Let's look at the evidence. Because again, the evidence is kind of pointing to a lot of divergences in a lot of different things. So if you're confused, it's okay. If you've got winners, raise your stops. If you have losses, define your risk. Like again, this is going to be a stock picker's market. Certain things are going to work better than others. I can guarantee that. And then certain things, once they start turning over, you know what they are. You need to make sure you get out. And if you have stops and they get gapped on, do not be surprised. Like I'm trying to warn people big time. Like don't, again, the goal is not to try to sell at the very top. It's to layer out as you're up more because you never know when something can change. So if you're new to the Discord room, the link's in the description below. Appreciate all you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out the education trading videos. There's 52 of them. There's a ton of them. I mean, go back to where's the options expiration one. There you go. Check them out. There's so much content on here. Again, I've poured a ton of time and effort into trying to give people a little edge. Check it out. Also, the website, Get Your Markets 5.5, thetradingagent.com. Getting to finish the last details, a few little things, trying to tweak here and there. It's always about proofreading, making sure everything looks right, makes sense, works on the app, all sorts of stuff. Interactive brokers, and then also get your reading. I'm telling you, read these books, guys. These are the only 2 books you really need. It's crazy. Because then the rest is all psychology. So follow, like, subscribe, check it out on X. I mean, it's hard to say X. It's Twitter, whatever. And here again, psychology. If you need help, check out Randy Howe. I'm telling you guys, there's so many of you that think you have secure emotional relationships with the market. You don't. When you're up, you're excited. When you're down, you're depressed. You don't realize it's just a business sometimes. You let your emotions fluctuate with what the market's doing. You get emotional. You let people dictate. Again, when you let the market dictate your happiness, you got to be careful. You can get addicted to that. All right. Fed Watch Tools, 16% on Friday or whatever it was, just refreshing. Yeah, same thing. Bitcoin, here you go. We said once you got all of these levels, you would need volume. Well, you started getting volume, and look what's happened. Now, again, do I trust it? I mean, again, I'm not the Bitcoin king, but I do say and do know it's pretty technical. I'd be willing, again, I'm just kind of drawing up here. Here you go. Here's your next, like, windows, right? Somewhere in this area, right? I apologize. I'm trying to do it. Like, this is the old shoulder line. This is what I'd be watching next. And this is where we're at right now, 50,000 level. Get over that, top of the trend. Who knows? Again, I think the biggest moves, if Bitcoin is the future of digital currency, then absolutely when the Feds pivot. Same thing like gold and silver. Like I'll believe it when the Feds go QE and limited. But as of right now, so far so good. Again, it's when I've always recommended don't short, buy the dips, don't chase. Right? Talked about pullback. Now you're making new highs. Looks bullish. Is what it is. Be careful. Know your levels. Trade it. Just in case. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but trade it. This isn't. I would just hate for Bitcoin ended up not being the digital currency that it was expected to be, and somebody just never took any profits. And then their earnings were, I mean, when I say earnings, like their profits were never real. All right, oils, we talked about chopping around, natural gas. I mean, you can't make this up. And I mean, I warned folks on previous videos, like, don't be surprised if they blow out natural gas at some point. Well, here you're getting it. So if you have your positions in KLD and you got stopped out, that's part of the game. That is part of the game. Like, again, you want to talk about going long natural gas or short anything, it's all risk reward.
The levels matter. Now, if you're short KOLD and you've got long-term time horizons, I mean, I can guarantee you're going to get the decay in your favor. We'll talk about that here shortly. Dollar holding up pretty well. TLT chopping around. Chop, 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 chop. Got to hold the 93s. The VIX starting to wake up. Are you surprised? No. We talked about holding channel highs. This gap up, I mean, typically when you gap off the lows in the VIX, are you going to be surprised if it goes up a little more in time, right? Maybe the VIX goes up early in the week, down later in the week. I don't know. I mean, again, it's mid-December or mid-February. Typical seasonality is pulling back. All right, here you go. VIX in, same kind of thing. Look at the VIX. We've talked about the VIX led up, meaning it bottomed first. Notice it's bottoming first. SPY, nice sell into the close. I mean, not crazy. Not everybody and their mom unloading, but again, I mean, the risk reward is not in your favor as a bull. Now you got a little doji up here. We talked about the volume just dying on the vine. Now, can it rise on light volume? Of course. Just like at lows, you can continue to go lower at lighter volume. It happens. Sometimes it blows out. It gets stretched thin, right? QQQ, we talked about this. Thought this would be a left-right combo. We said watch the 8-day, held it. Now, again, pick and choose your moments. Like certain names during certain things. Talk about the IWM. So I said in the Discord room, are you noticing something today that I haven't seen in a while? The trash is floating last, right? And a day like today, you would think like if trash is up and IWM's up, like NVIDIA would be up like 20 points, Apple would be up $3, Meta would be up $10, Google would be up $1 or $2, Microsoft would be up $3 or $4, Tesla would be up $3 or $4. No, you didn't see that. So keep an eye on the IWM. Again, see what happens, starts lagging again. DIA's been holding up pretty well. Got to give it credit for credit's due. Gold, here you go. Check this out. And it's the same story. Got CPI data, isn't it, tomorrow? Oh, yeah. Market taking a little profit taking. Again, I'll buy gold when it breaks out. I have no reason to be early because silver's not confirming it. We talked about this. I can go through this a million times. Again, the best time to buy this stuff when the Feds pivot. GDX, is it really following? No. GDXJ, GDX and GDXJ. Sorry, GDX, no. AG, no. All right, these just names are at references. AEM, not really at a reference, but look at Newmont. We've talked about this thing's been an absolute turd biscuit. Nice little bounce today, not surprised, but why is Newmont making 52-week lows if gold's about to break out? Like, again, something doesn't make sense. That's just cold, hard facts, right? Something doesn't make sense. And we're in this channeling down channel. Yeah, that's what it is. Pass, right? Got it. Okay. Chop around. So let's look at tech here again. We talked about Taiwan semi. Like it's either about to blow off top and maybe it needs to get a little higher or it's done. Okay. Well, now you've got a 2-day range low. I'd be watching the 130 level and I'd be watching the 135. If it gets over it, then it can go back up here, maybe touch some ranges. If not, I mean, what did we say? Was it 1, 2, 3 gap trap? You got 4 gaps here. Exhaustion. And then you throw in this one. I mean, it's getting a little silly, right? I mean, China's circling. Again, I have no doubt that this stock will get absolutely destroyed in time. But does it mean it's right now? No. It's kind of someone said today, like NVIDIA is the stock of 2024. And I'm like, is it? Because it's only February. I've seen stuff like this again. Back-to-back stocks over the year being the best performing stock. I don't think it's ever happened. MU, lagging. AMD, getting stuck. I mean, this is where it's like, some of these names. We talked about 20-day on AMD. You better hold. NVIDIA, pretty long wick today. Now, again, we've been fooled before, meaning thinking it was a doji, but man, look at that. 2.618 doji with volume decently above average. You remember Tesla we talked about in 2021? Like, got to wait for those dojis, right? Sorry, let me zoom back out. High volume dojis at the high. Right, the volume died. So this one was interesting because this felt like the top, and this is what I'm saying. Like, be careful with NVIDIA. You know you're getting close. Could it strip a little higher? That's all, and then you'll get some more indecision. And I guess like the best one would probably. I'm trying to think of like the best example, but this was one on lighter volume. But you could see the volume on the way up. Like this was total panic, and then it was like, uh-oh. And this is where I'm scared for people who are long NVIDIA. If you don't raise your stops, like you could get gapped. And then look at it. I mean, Tesla went from 398 down to 328 in the blink of an eye. And you hope it comes back. But we'll get into Tesla in a second. I'm just trying to think of like the recent like bubbly of names. Adobe chopping at the highs. Again, Apple, you would think this would be up today, right? And we talked about identified the zone. Looks like we were failing. Gave their sweet ass 24-cent dividend. Giving it back. Amazon, check this out. Channel highs, riding the lightning. So far, I mean, it's bullish, but just keep an eye on this. Again, I think the easiest short will be when it breaks down here. But guess what? If you have a 2-day range here, again, multi-day ranges are very, very powerful to watch. Here you go. Mr. Meta, everyone's calling for 500. Okay, we'll see. I got the alarm down here. CRM, been riding high. Channel high. Keep an eye on it. Google was up on Friday. Like, looking at it, was like over the 20-day, looking good. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. When you don't know, just don't trade them, right? Microsoft, here you go. Maybe it's just railroad tracks, left, right, right. I guess I'm trying to find out. Here's a left, right. Be careful. That one looks a little peculiar. We talked about NDAQ being toast, right? Just chopping. MicroStrategy, of course. If we said this and we identified this, we talked about this very clearly. Like, watch the channel lows. If Bitcoin was holding, be okay. Pulls back. Said, watch out. Now this gap. Now, again, as of Friday, we didn't know Bitcoin's at 50,000. Well, guess what? Bitcoin rallies. Of course. I mean, why wouldn't you try to retest the highs? Again, if I was trading this, I would have said such. But does it make sense? Right? Bitcoin breaks out. Why wouldn't MicroStrategy go right back up into this level? So, but it's interesting to see that if you watch daily action, like if you can't make a new high and Bitcoin makes a new high, I would be a little careful. Netflix, we talked about chopping at the top. Looking pretty stuck. Roblox, toast. Right, get out. I mean, not toast, but like just waiting to get out the jelly. I don't know. It's in a big trading range. It's really hard because if you've been trading the range, great. But if you don't want to, the easiest is when it either short from the highs or wait for the breakout. Tesla, back to the daily. We've talked about it, oversold, hitting the channel lows. And it kind of sucks. I mean, everyone knows that the solar subsidies are going to be cut if you know who wins. So keep that in mind. Oh, I keep forgetting about Intel and SMH. I apologize. Intel, we've talked about being trash. Look at that pop to the 20-day. SMH, I mean, if you bought Soxes today near 409, how funny is that? 409. What was the last low? If I remember, like 432. You got 409. I mean, this is the thing. Risk reward, define it. Look at this candle in the overbought position. I mean, look at this screaming higher. Be careful. Airbnb. Here you go. Is it going to break out? Then it comes right back in. Tough to say. I mean, some of these names are hard. Costco's been leading up, getting a little tired, right? Double doji. I mean, like double dragon doji. I don't know, just chopping. Starbucks, we talked about this being wide and loose at the lows. And to me, it's a piece of junk, but a good gap up on earnings. I mean, there's no growth. It's just oversold rally. FedEx, we talked about keeping an eye on this, making lower lows, lower highs. Needs to get over 20-day. Caterpillar, we said, this feels very topish, right? Blow off top, just chopping around. Really not much to say. Nucor, we talked about this one, right? Like, is it going to break out? Pulls back, chopping. Got to wait for it to break, in my opinion, out or down. Pick the reference. I mean, you have an inflection point. X not getting bought out by Nippon Steel, but there's other bidders probably. VALE, global growth name, ugly. Arrow, copper name, nothing. Now, we did identify some levels that it bounced at, but it still looks like nothing. CCJ warned this could be an M top. Oversold near term with some dojis. I mean, better hold the 100-day. I'd hate for this to just be a waterfall down for the bulls. CF, we talked about ag names. I like them in time. I just think they're in choppy chopland. NTR, Mosaic, same thing. Choppy chopland. Wait for the feds to pivot. AA, Aaron, another one, choppy chopland. Financials, this is where it got pretty interesting today, right? Like, we go back at the highs. If you bought some FAS at, I don't know, man, 12 something, you're feeling pretty good about it. JP Momo, chopping around. Morgan Stanley, man, we talked about this being dead cat bouncing and chopping. Doesn't look good at all. Bank of America, chopping. Look at the breakout, fake out, right? Like, oh, I got it. Coming back down, but it's chopping. Goldman Sachs. And again, we talked about watching the levels. Look at man, we could not close over the highs. Man, it's wow. Okay, we'll see how this plays out. Again, you've got clear references here. Go with either way. Carry, we talked about this being oversold, right? Everyone's like, oh, you're doing that. I was like, no, watch what happens on the 100-day. Maybe it could bounce up to the 20-day or chop around. Go watch previous video. Again, I said this was going to be probably one of these down moves. Like we're just, I mean, that was a little more extreme, but here you go. It just starts turning and then 20-day becomes resistance until it doesn't. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. XBI playing the game, right? Here you go. Said, do not be surprised if it chops around. I mean, this is a reference point. Short had to get below there. Now back up into the upside target zone. We'll see if it breaks out. I doubt it will, but we'll see. Solar, as we talked about, being oversold near term, meaning, hey, due to rally, we talked about it down here. Okay, again, this is when you start watching this crap, right? Sedge, same thing. I mean, all these names. We said continuously, be careful shorting lows. When they start dropping a bunch again, pull some off and wait and see what happens. And if the market's holding up, said this very clearly, like, don't be surprised if these bounce back, because that's the thing. The trash will float last at some point. Here you go. Alarm went off today, 200-day. I got my eye on you. ENPH for solar. Same thing. Chopping around, breaks the channel, comes back. I mean, this is why this is hard, y'all. I mean, again, shorting, pick and choose your moments. Trade around your positions. And if you're not really sure, this is what you have to go back to on some deeper fundamental level. Just be patient. HYG, again, you got to be insane to be buying corporate debt going into what I think is going to be a bigger recession than they're going to be talking about. Because, again, soft landing. When did the Feds ever navigate a soft land with the amount of rate hikes they've done? Never, ever, ever in a million years. Oil, chopping around, right? Natural gas. Here you go. Look at this. Kapow! You got stops. You got stops. But someone will get mad and be like, oh, you're wrong. It's like, dude, would you buy down here? You're not. I'm not saying go buy it up at 135. I mean, you're at $16 post-split. That, to me, again, the risk-reward, pocket aces, sometimes you'll lose. That's just the reality of it. So KOLD, same kind of thing. If you had the short on, you got stopped out, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to stop out and then come back. Nothing. Zero. I mean, again, we talk about zoom out. Look at this thing. It's a freaking decay monster. Okay. I mean, they'll pile into it for the near term, then fine. And you just get patient. It's like NVIDIA. Like if you get stopped out shorting it right here, pretend this was NVIDIA, do you just jump back in the next day? No, you go, okay, well, let it play out. Let's see what happens. Let's see when the references form. Let the references form, right? It's not rocket science, but we make it hard. XOP, chopping around, holding up, chopping down, holding up. These names are just, in my opinion, just you got to be careful. CVE, remember they were talking about some February and March call options. You broke the downtrend. Keep an eye on that one. Valero, talked about chopping. Some of these oil and gas names are holding up better than others, like ExxonMobil, dead, chopping. MPC, Valero, gas names holding up better. But watch out. Can it break out? Will it break out? Occidental, again, dead money. Dead money. Just playing the game, chopping around. EQTs we talked about. Here you go. Chop, 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 chop. Last but not least, Flex LNG. Again, I love the idea that natural gas is going lower because at some point we addict everybody to cheap natural gas and then we export it. So there is a bigger plan going on in time. If you have any questions, please reach out. Always here to help you guys. Appreciate all the love, support, generous donations. You guys are amazing people. I love you all. And again, meaning just help each other out. That's the key here. Help. Again, when asked. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.